I do want to reiterate that I had somebody find my site by Googling "I'm a bad pastor's wife."
Yeah.
And I thought, my heart broke for that person, because I thought, maybe you think this ideal out there, this weird expectation of a woman who probably doesn't exist. And you're comparing yourself to her, or other people are comparing you to her, and you feel like you're not measuring up. And I thought, I was so sad for that woman. And so I know that maybe it's churches, maybe it's church members, maybe it's us, that we have expectations that we can't meet, and they feel so weighty. How do you deal with that? And maybe a similar question is, then how do you get comfortable with the way God made you and wired you up to lead, even though that doesn't fit whatever you think is typical?
I completely believe that you have to be the person God made you to be and not fit a stereotype. It is such a box to try to fit into a box. I really believe you have to please God, love Him with all your heart, love your family, love His people, and then beyond that, you let it all kind of settle in. And I say, when you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to do at any certain point, in serving God, that one of the questions that you ask is, what's my shape? What am I good at? What am I gifted at? Not everybody likes to sit up in front of other people and talk to them. I didn't either when I first got started, but I found out as I did that I actually love it, and it's part of my gift. But I didn't know it until I tried it. But not everybody likes to be up front. Not everybody's gifted to be up front. But you find whatever you are gifted at and what you are good at, and how God has shaped you, and what your own passions are, and what are the things that feel so right to you when you do them, even if what feels right to you is you are the person who is making sure when this event is over, all the tablecloths are folded, put away, the chairs are pushed back in, that you're helping the catering crew take things down, and everybody's like, oh, no, you should be out doing it. You go, no, but this is what I love. So whatever it is you love, that's the way God has shaped you, and that's where ministry has joy. When you find yourself trying to do things that you're not gifted to do, that are not your strength, that don't fit your passions, ministry can be a drain. I mean, it can just wipe you out and leave you feeling empty, and you go, I thought this was supposed to be fun, or I thought this was supposed to be good, or I thought this was supposed to be meaningful. But if you're not in that sweet spot that really fits how God has made you, ministry can just take you down. So first, I would encourage you to spend some time before the Lord and say, God, how have you made me? What is it that I love to do? What is it that brings me joy when I do it? And aim yourself in that direction. And then second thing is what Lori alluded to is everybody has this expectation, and maybe you've bought into it, that you can walk on water. That you and your husband can walk on water. You're the professionals. You're the paid professionals. And so you should know all the answers. And you should have everything all figured out. And you should be the prime example and everything. And blah, 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 blah. And that just can become a weight that can take you down. And to realize that what I believe is that my goal really is, my aim is to please God, as Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5. My aim is to please Him. So if I'm pleasing Him by loving Him more every day, by keeping my heart as tender and just surrendered to Him, then if I please you, well, that's great. And if I don't, oh well. I think that one of the things that people in ministry have to get good at, two things: saying no and not making excuses, not owing people an explanation. I don't really think in many ways you owe people an explanation for your life. You have a relationship with God, you have a relationship with your husband, and just for instance, when I was growing up, our Wednesday night prayer meeting, my dad's a pastor of a small Southern Baptist church, he had to be there, or felt he had to be there, every Wednesday night for prayer meeting. Well, the school district I grew up in, that was always when we had back to school night or parents' night. My parents never went to a single one. Not because they didn't love me, but because the expectation was the pastor had to be at the Wednesday night prayer meeting, and it never crossed their minds never crossed my dad's mind that he could have had a layman that night who didn't have a kid with back to school night to lead prayer meeting. No, he was the pastor. He had to do it. So what I have developed, and Rick and I have in these years, 35 years of ministry, is, and I have gotten really good at just saying no to people. Sometimes people say, well, you're going to be at XYZ, and I'll go, no, sorry, I'm not going to be able to be that. And they're like, like waiting for that, and why not? And they want me to justify, why aren't you going to be there? What? And I've just gotten really good at just leaving it right there. No, sorry, I'm not going to be able to be there. So people don't expect me to be at everything. They know that I'm going to be doing some stuff with my kids. They know that there's going to be, I don't live with a chip on my shoulder. I'm not saying live defensively. That's really unattractive. So it's not the defensive, no, I don't owe you any explanation. No, I don't have to tell you that. It's more just the gracious, no. And smile. And leave it at that. And that will relieve such pressure in your life if you're not trying to walk on water, if you're not trying to meet everybody's expectations, if you really do understand that the word no is an okay word to say, and that you don't have to defend those kinds of choices to everybody and please everybody and make them happy with you. Will they all be happy with you? No. Of course not. But they won't be anyway. I mean, that's just the reality. You know that. You know this already, that you can't please everybody. So if you stop trying to please everybody and stop trying to get everybody's approval and just live with grace, with kindness, with your priorities in such a way so that they feel as balanced and as godly as they can, that's really all that can be asked of you. And you will have done well. You will have done well as a pastor's wife, as a staff wife, if that's your approach. Grace, graciousness, kindness, humility, a willingness to say no, get your priorities. You don't have to do some of the bigger, flashier things. That's not what makes you successful. It's that living your life with that integrity and that grace before God that makes you a good pastor's wife.
And I love what you say about not having to justify your no, because it allows you to draw that line and say, this is our private life, and because we have a right to a private life. And yes, we live in a fishbowl, and yes, we're being watched. We have the right to keep things family, just like the families in our church do. So I love that. I need to work on that. That's really good. Thank you
I'm
so
sorry.
much.
Sorry to have to
I know, we hate that you have to leave.
You guys, you're awesome. Every one of you. I know that without even knowing you.